Hi, I'm the cat lady, and I'm here with some more tips, more of a part two on how to settle kitten into their new environment. So, we talked about how you could possibly have just rescued a kitten, and we talked about how you may want to have the litter box, the beddings, and a small area for kitten to adjust into their new environment with. And we talked about deworming, and we also talked about meals. So, today we're just going to jump straight into a deeper part of um, giving it time to adjust to his or her new surroundings. So, I suggested last time that you pick a small area for kitten to live in for now. I would discourage you from, especially if you have cats, placing kitten in the living room or where there's a lot of traffic for two reasons. One, kitten may be unwell and have something contagious, so we are trying to do a quarantine. All right, the other reason is we're also wanting to minimize stress on kitten, so we don't want to place kitten where they're seeing everything and everybody and all at once. What we want is for kitten to slowly acclimatize to his or her new environment. So let's say you have picked the bathroom, which is usually the most ideal area. We talked about bedding, so I won't go into that again. But what we're doing in this period, which is ideally 14 days, but you can stretch it to 21 days, but 14 days is a good period. Why? Because in this quarantine period, we are checking for whether kitten is incubating anything, and we'll go deeper into this in the next part. But we are looking at symptoms, we're looking at the appetite, we're looking at different things. So I won't go too much into that, but this is a 14-day quarantine period. You're keeping other cats in the household safe, and you're also keeping kittens safe. Why is it important also for kitten not to run into the whole household for now? It's because we are minimizing stress on kitten, right? So there are new sights, new sounds, new everything, completely new environment, which if not introduced into properly, if just wham, in your face, all this new stuff, we could trigger a stress response from kitten. Remember, this little one has come from a different environment, and that environment could be the outside world. So there could be a lot of things that were holding kitten together, and now suddenly kitten is in a new environment where there's food, there's quiet, there's peace, there's warmth, and then now their body starts to release and let go. And what we want is as that happens, there's as little stress as possible, which is really important because we don't want to trigger any symptoms, any illness in kitten. So please do keep kitten in that small area to give them time to acclimatize to their new environment. All right, the other thing we're going to talk about is introductions. If you have other cats in the household, when kitten is in this bathroom and the other cats are outside the bathroom, the other cats and kitten are aware of each other. They're getting a feel of each other without meeting, okay? And another clever thing you can do during this time is maybe every 2 days exchange beddings, so that the older cats, the resident cats, get to smell kitten's scent, and kitten also gets to do the same with the scent of the cats already there. So there's that, when we finally meet, there will be that recognition of, oh, I've smelled you before. I don't know from where, but you're familiar to me, all right? Please, one thing you need to note with kittens, or rather cats also, they don't see each other, like they not like you and me and be like, you look familiar. No. For cats, it's smell is what aids that recognition and familiarity between different cats. All right, so one of the things you need to look at during this quarantine period is, we've talked about minimizing stress, and for that, in that same breath, I will request, please do not rush to wash kitten. Please. I know people are very fond of doing this. You're very fond of just shwee, and there is water and you're scrubbing away, but as understandable as it may be, because kitten may be dirty, kitten may have fleas, there are certain ways we can keep kitten clean without you stressing kitten with water and that whole fighting experience, and then the cold that they'll be exposed to. Even if the water is warm, you're still exposing them to some cold as their body dries up. Yeah, even if you're going to use a dryer, just please minimize having kitten in water. What I would suggest, if you need to take care of the fleas, use a flea comb. Have a little, what can we call it, a little container with boiling hot water, and some soap, so that when you're removing the fleas, you dunk that flea comb into the little tray or the little container, and the fleas will just go in there and die. All right, the other thing you can do is use a spot on flea treatment, which a vet can recommend, and a vet can also recommend other to flea treatments that you can use during this quarantine period. Just give kitten time to grow stronger, to adapt to their new, to avoid stress as much as possible. Sorry, please don't rush to wash kitten. The other thing is, if you find kitten is dirty, if you find kitten is dirty, you can use some, what are they called, these wipes. There's some that are specific for pets, or you can just have a damp towel that you've dipped in hot water, this warm water, this good temperature for kitten, and just start to clean off the dirt, but don't rush to dump kitten in water. I really would urge you to wait until we know that kitten is not sick with anything. All right, and the last thing in that same breath, I will suggest that we'll talk about in the next video, don't also rush to have a vet vaccinate kitten until we have seen during this quarantine period that kitten is not incubating any disease. Because if you rush to vaccinate, and this is something I'm speaking of from very painful experience, if you rush to vaccinate kitten and kitten has symptoms that they're not exhibiting yet because they're still incubating, oh, you have literally just sped up their transition over the rainbow bridge, let me put it that way. So I hope this has been helpful to you, and I thank you for watching this far, and have a great week ahead. This is Cat Lady from the Cat Ladies Cattery. Bye.